Hi there, and welcome to Adventures in Bread Making with Doug. That's me. You know, as I was feeding my sourdough starter and getting ready to make up some yeast breads, I was reminiscing a little bit about my childhood and things that I remembered from that time. And one of those was, as people moved into the neighborhood that we were in, often there would be sharing of something called friendship bread as a welcome to the neighborhood kind of thing. And I was trying to figure out how I could go back to that. And I searched the internet, easy thing to do these days, and I found that yes, there was an Amish friendship bread recipe out there. So I thought I would go through the process of getting the starter ready and making this bread. The story behind it is that you create a starter of flour dough, and this friendship bread sits for about 10 days with feeding, much like you do with your sourdough starter. And then you use that, bake a loaf of bread, and pass it on to a neighbor along with about a cup of starter, and the instructions as to how they keep the starter going for 10 days and then bake from that. So what we've done here is created that starter, and I've made a couple of loaves, passed them on to my neighbors along with a cup of starter, and it just keeps going and going and going. So anyway, I'm going to show you how we make the recipe, and I'll put information about the starter and how you can keep your starter going. Okay, so first thing we want to do, set your oven to preheat for 325. So that'll get that nice and warm for you when you're ready to pop it in. Second thing is to take your baking pans. This will make 2 loaves. So take your baking pans and get those ready. Now I have sprayed them with floured cooking spray, and this recipe wants you to take cinnamon and sugar and dust the inside of the pan. So we're going to do that. The best I think is to make up a little shaker if you have it. If not, that's okay. You can just spoon it in and sprinkle it around. And believe it or not, you can be fairly generous with this. I was concerned that it would kind of bake in the pan or glaze and get stuck, but I didn't have that problem. Okay, so once you've sprinkled it in there, tap it, shake it around. Okay, make sure you have a good coating. We'll do both of those because, like I said, it makes 2 loaves. These are 8-inch pans, fairly heavy, which does a good job, heavy aluminum, that does a good job of baking. I've had good success with these every time I've used them. Okay. We'll set those aside. And now to mix in the ingredients. We'll start with our bowl. We're going to, the key thing here is to start with our starter. Now you may have the friendship bread starter that was given to you. It might have been about a cup's worth or so, or you might have started it yourself, or you may have some left over. I'll have a little more instruction about where you come up with the starter and how you do that, but for now we've got our starter. It lives in a bag. It's not an original recipe of mine. I found it online, and I found a number of tips and hints about how to use this. This is just over a cup. It's the last of what I had in my starter. And so that's what we want. We want about a cup squeezed out of our bag where it's been living for 10 days. It's a 10-day cycle you have of, as they say, mashing, squeezing the bag, and feeding it, and then finally baking it, dividing it and baking it on the 10th day. And one of the recipe sites that I found marked with a Sharpie on the bag what you were supposed to do on each of the days, and I thought that was a good idea. So I marked mine too. We now have our friendship starter. Okay, we're gonna add to that a couple of things. We have 3 eggs that I've put in the pan here. I wanna just break those up. One thing about measuring all this out is you get a lot of dirty dishes. Okay, we have oil to add, and the exact amounts of all this I will post and include. Okay. We have milk. So to our starter, we have added the eggs, oil, milk. See if I can get that blended in pretty good. Now the next step is to add sugar. And I found you can probably go half and half if you think that's too much sugar to use and you'd prefer to use something like stevia, some of those sugar substitutes. I went half and half and didn't notice any problems with it baking. The flavor was just the same. It did just fine. So if you want to cut back on the actual sugar, you can certainly try that. I'm not sure I would do it 100%, but I would at least maybe cut it by half, substitute half. Okay, so we've done that. We want to add a little bit of vanilla. So into our bowl, we're going to add vanilla. We have cinnamon. We have baking powder, and like I said, I got this mixed up with my baking soda when I was reading the instructions, and in fact, everything turned out okay. So there's probably a little forgiveness in there. Salt. Baking soda. Hopefully I had that right. It was baking powder first. Now we're going to add flour to this and vanilla pudding mix. And I think the other key here is you've got a lot of choices for mix-ins. I'm going to use raisins. I like to coat things like raisins, and you know, if you do baking for muffins and that sort of thing, a lot that people will tell you you're sometimes better off coating the raisins a little bit in flour so they don't sink to the bottom. I actually have not had that problem, but there's at least an opportunity here to mitigate that a little bit. Okay, so we're going to add flour and raisins, vanilla pudding mix. This is interesting. I haven't tried it yet, but you maybe could, if you like butterscotch flavors, it might be interesting to try something like butterscotch instead of the vanilla. Or there are French vanillas, there are vanilla cheesecake puddings, whatever. It's going to be an instant vanilla pudding. Okay, now you will notice that I'm blending that in. It kind of goes, if you've got everything pre-measured, it really goes kind of fast. I'm just using a whisk. Don't have to use my stand mixer. I just want to get everything blended in well. We're going to fill our pans. They're not going to be full to the top, but we want to split it between the two of them. And for this, I'm going to use my spatula. I don't know if I can do this so you can see it, but we'll try. we're getting about half full in the pans. All right, since I'm not really good at that direction, I'm going to turn it. Now that we have the batter in the pans, take a generous amount of that cinnamon sugar and sprinkle it over the top. It may seem like a bit much, but when this loaf is done, you'll appreciate it. It really makes a difference. Okay, so we have, of course, those two, and they are ready to go in the oven. So I'm going to take a minute, put those in the oven. Well, let's see how it looks. I think maybe we're done. The two loaves look pretty good right out of the oven. We're going to let them cool just a bit. Then I'm going to tip them out and we'll be ready. I'm going to tip these out. And then put them back on my cooling rack. And you can see that we have a couple of really nice looking loaves of friendship bread. It smells wonderful, it tastes even better, and it's a good thing it makes two loaves with one recipe because this goes fast. Bake. And thanks for being here. Check out some of my other bread recipes, and happy baking.